I went through some super difficult feedback when I went through the SEAL training process. It's actually like, I think one of the coolest parts of it, and coming out the other side of that in civilian life. It's one of the things that I missed in throughout the SEAL training program, all throughout, and pretty rapidly early on, like in the beginning of SEAL training. It's almost every week that you do one of these. It's called a peer review.
Wait, every week?
In the beginning, it's every week.
So first phase?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In the beginning of first phase, it's every week. And then moving forward, it's like every few weeks.
Okay.
But as guys are getting eliminated really fast and the instructors want to see this feedback. But what it is every single person. So like they actually kind of were painful. Not even painful to receive, painful to fill out the feedback. Because at the beginning, when there's like 170 guys in the class, I'm having to write a statement about 170 guys.
You have to do it for every guy?
Mm-hmm.
What about the Grayman that you like, oh, he's in our class?
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't, a lot of these guys, like, I don't even know who that dude is.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
In the beginning, it's difficult, but you have to rank everybody. And then then you make a statement about, you had to rank everybody, and then there's a statement about the guys who are the bottom 5. This is the really brutal part. So the guys who were bottom 5 of the class, like, of 170 people, you were ranked in the bottom 5, and these are how many people ranked you there. What they'll do is they'll put those 5 people up in front of the class, and then sometimes it was the instructors, sometimes it was the leaders of our class, but they would read all the feedback. Like, because if you rank someone bottom 5, you had to make a statement about them.
Right.
And so, Joe Schmo is going to go up there, or Joe Schmo's up in front of the class, and the instructors are going to read off, these are all the statements that people said about you.
Wow.
Oh, it's brutal. There was only a couple people that I remember that like survived being bottom 5.
So it broke most people.
It broke them.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there was one guy who was like, I remember one guy coming out the other side of it like, I'm going to change. That's not me. And I remember one guy specifically who just kind of had like a FU mentality towards everyone, is like, that's not accurate.
Yeah.
I was delusional about it. But anyways, I'll say this. I was never bottom 5, but I did get difficult feedback sometimes, and not just in the peer reviews. I would have, people just tell me like, hey, you're this, hey, you're this. It's a very painful process, but I'll also say like some of my worst personality traits, because everybody has negative traits.
Yeah.
Everybody has blind spots. I grew up in a growth culture. I grew up around people that were leadership minded. I grew up around people that wanted to live lives based on personal growth and development. And I didn't realize it till I went there that I had all these personality traits that were not positive, right? I talked too much. I was, on the line of overconfident and arrogant. People called me a know-it-all. There were all these things that people would say about me, but no one ever, it's like, how did no one else ever tell me this? But I go to this world and I'm hearing all of this feedback. It's like in the world that I grew up in, people just, they just want to be nice to you, hope that you'll grow out of those things. But I went to this other world where everyone just gives harsh feedback, and it allowed me to grow so fast. Now it was painful, but I can tell you that there's often times where I miss that level of feedback, where people will just tell you the truth about who you are and what you're not great at.
So was this just like real-time feedback, like, shut up, Unclebach, you talk too much, like that kind of stuff?
Uh-huh.
Right. And it was just a matter of if that was coming from somebody who was a little bit more senior or from the instructors.
Well, to me, almost everyone was older than me. So like a lot of people would talk down to me, but it's not like I'm the only one that received that type of feedback.
Right.
Everyone would get feedback like that. And then even, as you progress out of training and you get into the teams, it's still very much a feedback culture.
And it's just on, like, you guys don't, obviously you don't do
because it's the reason for that is because it's like the mission is not to make people feel good.
For sure.
The mission, like the HR policy is like either serve the mission or go away.
Right.
That's the HR policy. No one cares like that you were offended or that, like, if you get injured, it's like, well, all right, we'll rehab you. Can you serve the mission again? If not, we'll rehab you enough and kick you out of the Navy.
Right.
Like no one is owed a place there. The whole operation of Naval Special Warfare lives to serve a mission, right? So there was no HR policy. Whereas in most companies, it's like, well, we care more about being nice to people and not offending people than we do about growing.
I was thinking that for most listeners, that's probably, if you're sitting there going like, wow, I can't imagine that. You think about your reviews with your boss or whatever you're doing for work. I mean, let's be honest. You want to go in there and have them tell you, you're doing a great job. Here's a pay raise. And like, if there's something more difficult than that, you have, now we have an action plan. And like, even if they tell you suck, they can't just fire you in most cases.
Even when, when I was in the SEAL teams and we're training to go on deployment, when we would you'd go through weeks of training to get to like a final training exercise, which is, basically like it's a real representation of a mission, as close as you can get without there being real bullets. And it's very high quality training. And I remember a couple FTXs that we finished and it was like, dude, we crushed that. And the instructors would be like, you guys did a lot of good things good. Here's everything that you did wrong.
Wow.
Right? Because we don't need to sit here and talk, man, we're so good at this. We're so good at that. It doesn't help you. What helps you get better, as Ken Blanchard said, feedback is the breakfast of champions. Right? And so if you really want to be a champion, if you do want to get better, what you should be looking for all the time is like, where can I grow?
Yeah.
Where can I get better? Don't tell me all the things that I'm already good at. It's easy for me to see that. What people need to know is, where do I need to improve?